Good evening and welcome to Kini News. The Health Ministry today reported 1,889 new cases of COVID-19, the highest figure reported in 40 days. With COVID-19 cases still rising, former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak has questioned the government on the effectiveness of the emergency and the second movement control order in controlling the spread of the virus.
Former Premier Najib Abdul Razak has questioned if the implementation of the state of emergency has been effective in bringing down the number of COVID-19 cases. In a Facebook post today, he said that it has been 3 months since the proclamation of emergency and second movement control order came into effect. He pointed out that Malaysia reported 1,767 new cases yesterday and that the rate of infection, or R-naught provided by the Health Ministry, had risen again to 1.09, which showed that new infections are on the rise. Najib said this clearly showed that the emergency had failed to stop the spread of COVID-19, and the hopes of the emergency and MCO 2.0 in bringing down cases to double digits by May were fading. He added that the Perikatan National Government had made a big mistake by being stubborn and not implementing a strict but short MCO. They instead chose to implement a half-baked MCO with relaxation of rules for factories, IKEA, shopping malls, Victoria's Secret, jewelry shops, and so on during the start of MCO 2.0. He said, as a result of this, interstate travel for Raya is now being questioned. The Health Ministry had reported 1,767 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. Active cases was at 16,300. Previously, Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob had said that the Health Ministry will conduct a risk assessment and decide in May on whether to allow interstate travel for Hari Raya Aidilfitri.
Yesterday, former Transport Minister Anthony Loke said that it was former Foreign Minister Saifuddin Abdullah's idea to ratify the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which you might know as ICERD. However, Saifuddin Abdullah has now come out to deny this. Now, before we move on, if you like our content, click on the link in the description below and you can become a contributor. Communications and Multimedia Minister Saifuddin Abdullah has clarified that he was not the minister responsible for trying to ratify the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, or ICERD. In a Twitter post yesterday evening, Saifuddin said that ICERD was contained in the Pakatan Harapan manifesto and was also mentioned by the then Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad at the United Nations General Assembly in 2018. However, he said he was not the minister who was responsible for it. He said this in response to a claim by DAP Organising Secretary Anthony Loke, who said the idea to ratify ICERD and the Rome Statute was Saifuddin's and not that of the DAP. On the 23rd of November 2018, Saifuddin, who was the foreign minister at the time, was quoted as saying that the government's decision not to ratify ICERD was decided unanimously in a cabinet meeting. The then Pakatan Harapan government had backtracked on ICERD and the Rome Statute after a backlash from conservatives. On the Rome Statute, Saifuddin said both decisions to ratify and later not to ratify it were made in the cabinet and he was the minister responsible. In April 2019, Mahathir announced that Malaysia was to withdraw from the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court due to confusion caused by politics and not because it could harm Malaysia. More MP Syed Abdul Rahman was surprised to hear that the Health Ministry was not going to administer vaccine shots at night throughout the month of Ramadan.
More MP Syed Abdul Rahman has questioned why the Health Ministry was using the excuse of the Ramadan months to limit the vaccination implementation time. In a statement today, he said the government should focus on the national immunization program and quickly reach the target of having 80% of the population vaccinated. He said, it was therefore important for the vaccination program to be implemented promptly and thoroughly. Syed Saddiq also questioned if Malaysians were made up of only those who observe Ramadan. He urged the Health Ministry to study how the vaccination program was being implemented in other countries. He added that the ministry should think of a way to speed up the vaccination program, not delay it because of the fasting months. Bernama had previously reported that the Health Ministry would not be administering vaccine shots at night throughout the months of Ramadan. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Noor Azmi Ghazali had said that the vaccine shots would be given, as usual, until evening for those who had registered to avoid any disruption during the fasting months.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has explained the reasons why the rate of vaccination seems slow in Malaysia. Khairi explained that he expects mass vaccination to be in full swing come June.
Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has addressed concerns from the public on why the rate of vaccination seems slow. He also acknowledged that people have been asking why they have yet to receive their vaccination appointment. In a statement today, Khairi said he recognized that people are anxious but said expectations needed to be managed due to vaccine availability. He said, the supply is still low and a more steady supply is only expected from June onwards. According to Khairi, one of the biggest reasons for low vaccine supplies in Malaysia and other middle-income countries is that rich countries have cornered the Covid-19 vaccine market. He said, some rich countries have bought enough vaccines for their citizens 3 to 5 times over, and added that many pharmaceutical companies give preference to rich countries, and this was why Malaysia has had to balance their Covid-19 vaccine portfolio to include Pfizer, AstraZeneca, but also those from non-Western countries like Sinovac. Based on delivery schedules, Khairi said he expects mass vaccination to be in full swing by June, and there will be enough supply to vaccinate 80% of the population by the end of the year. He said he will continue to push vaccine suppliers to make faster deliveries. In the meantime, he advised the public to maintain SOPs and said that in the coming months, they would get a notification in the MySejahtera app or via SMS informing them of their vaccination appointment.
That's a wrap for Kini News this evening. For more stories, go to kinitv.com. Don't forget, we also post the latest headlines on social media, so do follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook to get the latest news updates. Now, before we leave you, if you'd like to support the independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. You can go to the subscription page on Malaysia Kini. You'll find some attractive deals waiting there just for you. If you're heading out, as always, don't forget your mask, and when you can, do try to stay home. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and stay safe, Malaysia.